Hello everybody. We've received several phone calls from clients complaining of slow internet when they're working from home. I'd like to focus on one particular possibility for this problem that you experience, and it is your internet service provider's bandwidth into your neighborhood. Let me explain briefly, and then I'll explain what you can do about it. You need to understand the first, so that when you speak with the internet service provider, you will be more intelligent and you can press your point more effectively. When the internet service provider provisions bandwidth to you, you buy a 100 megabit per second internet connection as an example, they will provision from their telecoms office to a neighborhood node and to you 100 megabits. They do the same for other neighbors in the neighborhood. So let's say you have 10 neighbors, each is supposed to have 100 megabits times 10 neighbors, or 1,000 megabits. But in reality, what happens with the internet service providers is they will provision less than 1,000 megabits from their telecoms room to the node. The reason they do that is because they do not expect that everyone is going to use all 100 megabits at the same time, all the time, throughout the day. They expect you will use a little bit now, your neighbor John will use a little bit later, and Debbie will use some later, but not all at the same moment. In the spring of 2020, with coronavirus at our hands and work from home being the norm, people are using much more data than those networks can support, than that pipe, that node can support. Consequently, you will see slowdowns on the network, especially during regular business hours of the day. What you will need to do is two things. First, open a web browser, go to speedtest.com and run a speed test and screen capture that. Second, open on a Mac, go to the terminal application, and on a PC, go to cmd.exe. Type in ping, P-I-N-G, space, google.com. This will give you a result of pings. These are like sonar sent out to a server and back, the length of time it takes for that data packet to go out and come back. The numbers you see there should be less than 100 milliseconds. If they are, things are generally good. If they are not, you'll start to experience some slowness on your video conferencing calls between 100 and 200 milliseconds of ping time. And above 200 milliseconds, video conferencing will become frustrating, and the higher the number, the more impossible it will be to have a video conference call. You'll screen capture that too, and you'll take this information to your internet service provider and ask them to provision more bandwidth to your neighborhood node. That's essentially how you solve this problem. If they are unable to do that, you may need to consider an alternate internet service provider. Thank you for watching. This is Rafi at SmartSourced IT, 415-483-1700 or www.smartsourcedit.com.